everyone, welcome to the channel. I am so grateful that you are here. My name is Nikki and I channel messages from film, music, and books using tarot and oracle cards. And I am so excited and honored to be doing a reading for you today. Today, I will be channeling messages from Western movies. And in all honesty, the Western genre is not one of my favorites. But I was going through all the new movies that dropped this month on the streaming platforms, and I saw so many Western ones. So I thought to myself, maybe I should give this genre another try. And you know what? I am so glad that I did, because all three of the movies in this video are so good. And I cannot believe that I never gave them a chance up until now. So how the reading will work. In the next part of the video, you will see 3 different groups. Meditate on the group that is speaking to you and go to the timestamps down below to go directly to your reading from there. Also, a lot of very general messages come through, so if you find that something doesn't resonate with you, that's 100% okay. Don't force something that does not fit. Only take what resonates and leave what does not. And one more final thing. Spoilers will come through the reading, so if you have not seen the films, I just wanted to give you a heads up if it's a film that you are wanting to watch. But that is everything, so let's jump into some readings channeled from some epic Western films. Hey, group number 1, welcome to your reading. I am so grateful that you are here. Let's first cleanse the energy with some Palo Santo here, but I'm so excited to get into your reading and see what your Western film is. All right, let's get into it here. Your film, group number 1, is the 1966 movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, directed by Sergio Leone, starring Clint Eastwood, Eli Wallach, and Lee Van Cleef. The synopsis of the film says, while the Civil War rages on between the Union and the Confederacy, 3 men, a quiet loner, a ruthless hitman, and a Mexican bandit, comb the American Southwest in search of a strongbox containing $200,000 in stolen gold. And you know what, group number 1? This was the first time I ever saw this film, and it was so good. I am not typically a Western fan, but this movie definitely changed my mind. If you have not seen this film, highly, highly recommend. So let's see what your cards have to say. First, we have the Knight of Cups. Okay, so this card has the fawns from Happy Days on it. And from the film, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, I feel this represents Clint Eastwood's character Blondie. And he's also holding a cup in his hand here. So this is making me think of water and hydration. So Spirit is suggesting to nourish your mind, body, and spirit. And hydrating yourself is one of the best things you can do for your body. I'm actually picking up on dehydration here in some cases. And this is something that is represented in this film. A man named Tuco Ramirez, played by Eli Wallach, is a Mexican bandit who gets sentenced to hang for crimes he has committed. Blondie is a bounty hunter who saves Tuco by severing the rope with his gun before he can be hanged. Then the two of them embark on this journey in the desert. But before long, Blondie gets tired of Tuco complaining all the time. So he gives him some of the money he was rewarded and leaves Tuco in the desert. And he has to walk for miles until he finds a place to get out of the sun and get hydrated. He ends up buying some guns. And then he decides to go track down Blondie. And he does the exact same thing to him. He forces him to walk in the desert. And Blondie almost dies of dehydration in this scene. So this is a message that is coming through suggesting to get hydrated. And Spirit will never demand or control us to do anything. They just like to give gentle nudges and guidance to help us on our path, okay? And taking care of our bodies does help us feel better and gives us good energy. But I'm also drawn to how this card says fast food. At the very top it says fast food. It's the fawn standing outside of this fast food place. So with that, everything that we consume is energy. So if we consume things that aren't good for us repeatedly, that is the type of energy we are consuming. Now, I enjoy fast food myself, and I actually did get into a habit where I was having DoorDash deliver it to me almost every day because I work from home and it's very convenient, and I love that convenience. But then I started getting these signs and synchronicities that this wasn't a healthy option for me personally. Now, I do believe anything in moderation is okay. So if you've been wanting to learn, healthier habits, intuitive eating, or how better to take care of your body, ask your angels and guides for help and see what shows up. They could lead a food your way that contains some nutrients that will give you amazing energy. But overall, moderation is in fact key. And we don't have to deprive ourselves of foods that we love. But striking a healthy balance can help immensely, okay? Okay, I'm being drawn back to the fawns on this card. And in Happy Days, he is quite the ladies' man. And in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Blondie epitomizes this energy as he's also a very attractive man. And it doesn't actually show him in any kind of relationship in the movie, but he's referred to as this unknown drifter. And the Fonz was a drifter too, in the sense that he jumped from relationship to relationship in the show Happy Days. So I do feel some of you have a person in your life who exudes this type of energy, or it could even represent you. Because, the Knight of Cups is a passionate and exciting person who is solid with their emotions. But they are also still maturing on their journey, but still at the same time are very wise beyond their years. I'm also drawn to the motorcycle. So some of you may actually have one, or your person does. It just is exuding this very exciting type of energy, like a daredevil energy in some cases here. But on another note, I'm being drawn back to the film, and Clint Eastwood's character Blondie knows when to move his energy away from toxicity. But he didn't really think things through when he left Tuco in the desert. And this is exactly how karma works. What we put out, we will get back. And this is why Tuco catches up to Blondie, and he almost dies of dehydration. So Spirit is saying to be mindful of how your energy is affected around certain people, but also to be mindful of how you handle walking away when you know in your heart it's the right thing to do. Trust that gut feeling that you're having and walk away as gracefully as you can. And okay, the term player is a label, but I do feel some player vibes here. I also feel a tremendous amount of healing at the same time. So I feel many of you have recognized your worth and refuse to keep a player in your life. But I also feel the energy of some of you healing your shadow, where you may have had player tendencies in the past. And I feel this deep remorse here and feeling bad for hurting some people. And you know what? Commend yourself for doing this healing, because it's not easy to look at difficult aspects of yourself, to face them and, recognize that you want to make new choices and be a better person. So thank you, because you are the light who will help others out of this pattern. It first starts with healing yourself, and you are doing that, okay? On the other hand, I also feel many of you are healing from someone who hurt you. And it's that back and forth player energy that I'm picking up on strongly. And if your intuition is giving you insights about someone, trust it, okay? Because the player pattern is one of the most painful patterns ever. I too was played by someone for a very long time. But you know what? My heart was cracked open. To feel that level of heartache actually reminded me that I knew how to feel my emotions and how capable I was of loving someone. I just had to learn the lesson of who was worthy of receiving that love from me. And you are learning this too, okay? Major transformation is taking place for you. And as you heal, your vibration raises. So it's important to call back your power, cut cords, or also potentially doing a soul retrieval meditation. Cut off access to unwanted energy and cleanse your own energy. You are divinely protected, and there are spiritual practices that can help if done daily. Your next card is the High Priest of Atlantis with chakra healing. Okay, so some of you may have had past lives in Atlantis where you were a high priest or priestess. And I'm also drawn to the tattoos he has on his arms. If you look very closely, he's got tattoos on both of his arms going up and down. So I'm also feeling that some of you have tattoos and they hold a lot of meaning to you personally. But also I see some of them are linked to your spiritual journey and also healing. On the card, he's also holding crystals in his hands, so you may use them for healing or energy cleansing, I feel. Or you just may like to collect them or use them for particular things, like manifesting, healing, whatever it is that's, pertinent to you. But the card also specifically states chakra healing. So you could be healing your own chakra system at this time, or you may be in the midst of a Kundalini awakening. And from the film, I keep hearing Angel Eyes, who is played by Lee Van Cleef in the film. And it's actually quite contradictory that this guy's name is Angel Eyes, because he has no heart at all. And he's extremely ruthless, and he will kill anyone just to get what he wants. He feeds on people's vulnerabilities in a very selfish way. But with his name Angel Eyes, I feel like many of you are seers. And if you have this ability, I completely understand, okay? Because the divine shows you it all when you are a seer. And I mean it all. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Just like the title of this film. But I'm also drawn to how Angel Eyes was a villain in the film. So I also feel the divine is showing you aspects of your shadow to heal and integrate. Angel Eyes was not self-aware. But this is not the case with you. I feel that you are actually someone who can look upon your past mistakes and see the lessons in them. And I really feel a lot of you are letting go of self-judgment and learning to forgive yourself. But ultimately, keeping your chakras balanced is key at this time. Your next card is emotional freedom. Yeah, some of you are purging a lot of ancient pain through your emotions right now. And I'm drawn to the 3 animals on the card here. We have a horse, an owl, and a rabbit. And from the film specifically, I'm being shown the scene towards the end where Angel Eyes, Blondie, and Tuco have a standoff to see who gets to receive the 200 grand in one of the graves. And all 3 of these men do not trust each other. But it's like this card is representing the healed versions of all 3 of these people. It's a reality where they're living in harmony with each other, not one where they're fighting and wanting to shoot each other over money. So for some of you, I feel like there's a conflict between 3 people. For some, it feels like a love triangle. For others, it's a conflict amongst friends. And this conflict also could revolve around money. So if you have been stressing about the situation, Spirit wants you to know that everything is working out for the highest good of everyone involved. Process your emotions, as emotional freedom plays a huge role here, as this is the name of the card that came out. Everything is happening so you can release the pain the situation has caused. And it does feel like the other 2 people do not have your best intentions at heart, though. In the film, Blondie represented the good, as he didn't hurt people indiscriminately. Angel Eyes was very ruthless, and Tuco was a criminal with a heart but couldn't be trusted. Angel Eyes represented the bad, Tuco represented the ugly, and Blondie represented the good. So some difficult truths have come to light, or they will, about these other 2 people. But this is happening so the karmic cycle can be broken once and for all. But the main message here is that everything that is happening is helping you reach emotional freedom. And the difficult people in your life are triggering these emotions to help you release them. They are not aware of this consciously, but everything is happening for you and not to you. This situation is also helping you learn to discern energy and to know when to move away from what doesn't feel right or good. Your last card is the Lovers. I love that this is your final card, group number 1. And it's literally the culmination of all your cards together to bring in the beautiful energy of this Lovers card. We have, the Knight of Cups here, bringing through a message of taking care of your body and practicing self-love. The chakra clearing message here was about, spiritual cleansing and being able to see things and people more clearly. And emotional freedom brought the message of releasing ancient pain through allowing yourself to feel your emotions. And with all of that, and being able to let go of what no longer serves, brings relationships and friendships into your life with this Lovers card here. Spirit is showing me the very end of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it is one of the best endings ever that I've ever seen in a film. So, if you've not seen this movie, this is a big spoiler, okay? So, at the standoff, Blondie says he is going to write the name of the person's grave they are looking for. He places it in the center, and they all take their stances. Angel Eyes pulls his gun first, and Blondie ends up shooting and killing him immediately. Tuco finds that he doesn't have any bullets in his gun. But Blondie reveals that he didn't write any name on the stone because a man named Bill Carson earlier in the film told Blondie that the money was in an unmarked grave next to Arch Stanton's grave. So he gives a shovel to Tuco, and he begins digging. And he does find the 200 grand. Blondie says that they will split it, but he does not trust Tuco. So he tells him to put a noose around his neck while he ties his hands behind his back. If Tuco falls off of it, it will hang him. So Blondie leaves Tuco with his share of the money, and he takes his, and he leaves him. He leaves him behind. But what's really cool about this is that from a really long distance, Blondie ends up shooting the rope, which frees Tuco. And this is what, Spirit is bringing through. That Blondie knew deep down that Tuco was a good person, but he also recognized he wasn't a true friend that he could trust. So when he severed the rope with his gun, it metaphorically was in the sense that he was sending Tuco love, but also cutting cords with him at the same time. So sometimes when we know certain people aren't good for us, we have to detach with love and love them from a distance. This also involves walking away as gracefully as possible. Blondie didn't exactly walk away gracefully, but he didn't harm him, and he did leave Tuco his share of the money. So Spirit is showing me that it's possible for you to love certain people from a distance, and doing some cord cutting rituals could be beneficial for you. But many of you are calling in your genuine loving connections, and you must let go of the old to bring in the new with this Lover's card. We are always in alignment with what our reality is reflecting to us. The key is to detach from all past and present burdens. So if you want to align with something different than what your current reality is showing you, you have to be willing to let go of everything that doesn't align with that vision. There are old stories from the past that we keep telling ourselves. We must change those stories. And also to embody and be the type of person you want to attract. Move towards what lights you up. These difficult experiences are cracking you open so you can keep your heart open no matter what. And to show you what you don't prefer so that you can move towards what you do prefer. Beautiful messages, group number 1. That is all that I am seeing. Thank you so much for being here. Also, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps out in a big way, so thank you. I love you all so much, and I will see you on the next video. Bye. Hey, group number 2, welcome to your reading. I am so grateful that you are here. Let's cleanse the energy with some Palo Santo before we jump into your reading. There we go. All right, so your film, group number 2, is the 1969 movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, directed by George Roy Hill, starring Paul Newman, Robert Redford, and Catherine Ross. And the synopsis says, in late 1890s Wyoming, Butch Cassidy is the affable, clever, and talkative leader of the outlaw hole-in-the-wall gang. His closest companion is the laconic, deadshot Sundance Kid. As the West rapidly becomes civilized, the law finally catches up to Butch, Sundance, and their gang. Chased doggedly by a special posse, the two decide to make their way to South America in hopes of evading their pursuers once and for all. All right, let's see what your cards are. First off, we have This is the Four of Pentacles. Okay, so I'm drawn first to how the man is holding on to one of the pentacles here in his hand. There's an energy of wanting to protect finances and having worked hard to get where you are. I'm also drawn to how the man is in a wheelchair. And he's sitting in this amazing office, looking very spiffy in his suit, and has created a lot of material wealth for himself. But there's also something that feels stiff about him. The blinds are slightly open, but appear to be blocking the beautiful view of the world outside. See, they're like kind of mostly closed in the background. So there's this energy of feeling closed off and a fear of losing everything that hard work has brought. I also feel very strongly a fear of being stolen from. And in the beginning of the film, Butch, he goes to this bank and everyone in the bank is shutting everything down. They put up close signs and shut the blinds, much like how the blinds are kind of closed on this card. But as Butch is walking out, he stops to speak to a policeman who is guarding the front door. And he asks the cop what happened to the bank as he thought it was beautiful. The cop replies that it was getting robbed all the time. And Butch replies, that's a small price to pay for beauty. So Spirit is pointing out some fears here of being stolen from. Perhaps you were stolen from in the past, and it led you to taking measures for extra protection. But I'm also being drawn back to the wheelchair on the card. So I feel like some of you have really been taken advantage of, and it feels like an energy of that saying, you know, oh, it's like stealing candy from a baby. So it's an energy of stealing from someone who wasn't able to do anything about it, or the money or things that were stolen was supposed to be charity money to help people in need. And first off, I want to let you know that the pain you felt from this, it's valid, okay? As all of our emotions are valid. And it's okay to admit that something hurts. We are human beings, and sometimes things just flat out suck. But when the universe sends us difficult situations, it's a test. What is the higher opportunity presenting itself? If a pattern of being stolen from keeps repeating, how do we break that pattern? First, owning the anger and sadness and any emotions coming up is key. Feel what you feel, okay? The next part is assessing how we respond to what has hurt us. And this is the crucial part. How can you use a sucky situation for the highest good of all? Some people have resorted to bad-mouthing the person who hurt them, or even potentially stealing from them in return. In the film, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, they rob trains for money. And in one scene, he even states, I wouldn't have robbed them if they hadn't stole from me first. So Spirit is saying that if we try to break patterns with hate, it will just create more hate. And I once read this story about this woman who was conned out of $5,000. And you know what she did? She chose to pray for the man who stole from her. She chose to forgive him. And you know what ended up happening? That man who stole her, that man who conned her, became so overcome with guilt that he gave her money back to her. This is the power of forgiveness. When we choose to not be resentful and send positive energy to those who did us wrong, miracles happen. This is how we break negative patterns such as being stolen from. With love. Also, this does not mean you have to keep hanging around the person who hurt you. You can forgive and still have boundaries. Sometimes difficult things happen to reveal the true intentions of people. And if someone has stolen from you, they do not respect you as a person. you can still send them good energy while cutting cords with them. And having that boundary and respecting your personal space from those types of people who do not respect you. Your next card is Lilith, face your shadow. So yeah, we all have a shadow self. And it's the parts of ourselves that we disown and push down. And often the things we dislike in others is a reflection of our shadow. The shadow is not a bad thing, but we must learn to control it. Spirit is suggesting that shadow work could be beneficial for you at this time. And when you face your shadow, learn to love and integrate it, powerful change and healing takes place within you and reflects this back in your reality. In the film, Butch and Sundance are immersed in their shadow selves. And they do not face their shadows in the movie because they do not take accountability for anything wrong that they have done. They stay in a victim mindset, and harsh consequences catch up to them. They actually rob 2 trains in the movie. And after they rob the second one, a bunch of men on horses start chasing after them. And that's basically the rest of the movie. It's them running from the law. And they cannot get away from them as hard as they try. And this is the metaphor Spirit is bringing through here. You can try to run from your shadow. You can try to run from all the negative emotions such as fear, shame, sadness, and pain. But all of it will catch up with you eventually. Facing your shadow is not easy, but you'll find really cool energy rises within you as you do. Creativity you didn't know was within you will be unleashed. And major healing will transform you from the inside out. The more we push away our shadow, the more angry and out of control it gets. So love all of yourself, because this is what your shadow self craves from you, your unconditional love. We have life purpose. With this card, I am drawn to how the light is radiating from her heart on this card. So if you've been wondering what your life purpose is, you will know because of the love you have for it. You will know because it will draw love to you. And this is because of the love that will radiate from your own heart, just like on the card here. So in the movie, Butch and Sundance do attempt to go straight and flee a life of crime. They get these jobs as payroll guards at a mining company. On their first run, though, they get ambushed by some local bandits, and Cassidy shoots someone for the very first time. They end up killing the bandits and decide that they are better off being criminals. They didn't believe that there was a better life purpose for them. So Spirit is showing me that some of you feel this way as well. I feel very strongly that you feel like you can't redeem yourself from past mistakes. And you know what? There is nothing that is unforgivable. Recently, I saw a therapist speaking about how some things are just not forgivable. And when I read that, it totally did not resonate with me. And I say this as humbly as possible, okay? Being a seer, God has shown me a lot of things that people have done that many would say are unforgivable. But I have also seen how God has been using these very same people to break deeply entrenched karmic patterns and cycles to heal the collective. So I have seen that everything is in fact forgivable. So no matter what mistakes you may have made in the past, forgive yourself, okay? You deserve to live your passionate life purpose like all of us do. Your last card is the Chariot. This card indicates moving forward with something, or even taking a leap of faith, as the Chariot appears to be leaping over the hills on this card. In the film, Spirit is showing me the scene where Butch and Sundance are running from the law through the mountains, and they come to this dead end overlooking some rapids down below. Butch tells Sundance that their only way out is to jump into the water. Sundance tells him that he's not going to do that because he can't swim. But Butch ends up talking him into it, as they don't really have any other options. So they both leap, and they end up making it out okay, even though Sundance can't swim. So Spirit is saying the universe will be there to catch you when you take the leap you're being called to make. Everything is going to be okay. You will land safely on the other side. Keep moving forward and trust. You'll find that you can trust no matter what, and this will give you even more strength as you progress on your journey. I'm also drawn to how the Chariot looks like an animal on this card. And there is a lot of horseback riding in this movie. Perhaps some of you really love horses and animals, so this could be a specific message for those of you where that resonates. Your life purpose could be linked to this. But overall, the message here is that I'm hearing is to not give up on something that you can't go one day without thinking about. Everything will fall into place as you keep moving forward. Beautiful, group number 2. That is all that I am seeing. Those are your messages. Thank you so much for being here. Also, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps out in a very big way. So again, thank you. I love you all so much, and I will see you on the next video. Bye. Hey, group number 3. Welcome to your reading. I am so grateful that you are here. Before we get started, I would like to cleanse the energy with some Palo Santo. All right. Didn't really get going very well there. There we go. Okay, so your Western movie is the 2007 film 3:10 to Yuma, directed by James Mangold, starring Russell Crowe, Christian Bale, Peter Fonda, and Gretchen Mol. The synopsis says, in Arizona in the late 1800s, infamous outlaw Ben Wade and his vicious gang of thieves and murderers have plagued the Southern Railroad. When Wade is captured, Civil War veteran Dan Evans, struggling to survive on his drought-plagued ranch, volunteers to deliver him alive to the 3:10 to Yuma, a train that will take the killer to trial. Okay, so let's see what your cards are. First off, we have, this is the Queen of Cups. Okay, so this card represents heightened intuition and solid emotional balance. From the film, I keep seeing Alice Evans, who is played by Gretchen Mol. She is Dan Evans' wife, played by Christian Bale. Dan and a group of men have captured infamous villain Ben Wade, played by Russell Crowe. On their journey, they stop at Dan's house, where Alice cooks for them all while Ben is handcuffed at the table. Ben attempts to have this conversation with Alice, and she tells him she would prefer it if they didn't speak to each other. So her intuition was speaking to her loud and clear in this scene. She saw through his words as he laced them with manipulation to try to get a reaction out of people. So Spirit is showing me how you pick up on the energy of others very strongly, and it serves you well. You have a strong intuition, and you know when to leave a situation. I'm also drawn to the other two women on the card. These could represent people in your lineage or your social circle. They too have a strong intuition, but I feel like they look to you for guidance in tough situations. Together you are stronger, but I also see that you help them see their own power from within and how powerful you each can be on your own. You sit on your throne with wisdom, but you love to help others find their rightful thrones as well. I'm also drawn to the electricity on the card. So if you can see, they're like passing electricity between each other. So with this, I feel as though some of you experienced a situation in the past where you were shocked or electrocuted. It very well could have happened around water as well, as there's water on the bottom of the card. But there's something here very significant coming through about this experience for those of you who this resonates with. For some of you, it activated spiritual gifts. For others, it triggered a pattern within yourself or your lineage coming up to be healed. And there's something else that's coming through that I find very, very interesting. This experience of being shocked or electrocuted almost in a sense helped prepare you for shocking information you would later learn. And it's like this energy of nothing can shock me or nothing surprises me. And in the film, nothing rattles Ben Wade. He's the villain in the movie, and he does some very shocking things. It's like 1 minute he's stabbing a guy to death, and in the next he's reciting Bible verses as he read the Bible as a child. So some of you have the ability to see energy within people, the good, the bad, all of it. And you also have the discernment of when to walk away and who can still be helped. I also feel this energy that some of you are going to be very shocked by some people who do a complete 180 in their life and healing. Or this is something that is starting to happen now. But whatever is going on right now, your intuition is very strong and you can trust it. The ending of this movie is also very shocking as we witness Ben Wade, who is the main villain, do a 180 himself. So the message here is that Spirit is saying there are some people who are going to surprise you in very interesting or shocking ways. Your next card it's in reverse, but upright. It's the healer Asclepios, Sacred Medicine. So with this card and it being in reversed, I feel there's a healing that's being resisted right now. I also feel that some of you have manifested physical symptoms within your body and are not sure how to heal it. The key is to get to the root of the emotion and allow yourself to feel it. Call upon your energetic support team for help with this. They will provide all the resources you need, but you must ask for help and call it in. Some of the resistance is also due to not believing you are worthy of the healing. And this isn't true, okay? I'm being shown a scene from the film where Dan and his crew are holding Ben Wade captive in a hotel room. Ben's crew actually shows up and they yell to the crowd that they will pay anyone $200 to shoot the men that are holding Ben captive. So Dan's crew has to figure out how to get out of the situation. And in doing so, Dan's son William, played by Logan Lerman, he holds a gun on Ben Wade and tells him to call them off. And Ben says, "What makes you think I would do that?" William says, because you're not all bad. You saved us from those Indians back there. And Ben says, I would have killed all of you too if I had the chance. And William's like, yeah, I don't believe you. And Ben states, oh, I'm vile, trust me. So Ben keeps telling himself the same story, that he is this bad guy and will always be the bad guy. So whatever you have done in your past, any mistakes that you've made, it is never too late to forgive yourself, okay? And forgiveness is what will set you free. You can let go of the old stories and create new ones. As you heal your past, you heal in the present moment and let go. And forgiveness is one of the most sacred medicines in the world. But many people choose to hold on to the pain and suffering rather than let forgiveness heal it all. I do feel that many of you are facing your shadow. And sometimes this work is very intense because we are shown our own darkness. And it's up to us if we choose to take responsibility for that darkness. And this is the key to integrating it. Looking upon our darkness with unconditional love and non-judgment, and forgiving ourselves. This is what moves us further into the light, where we can continue to hold the high frequency that we bring. There's also a message coming through about not needing to do it all on your own. Many of you have been isolated and doing the inner work without any help. And this is fine up to a point, but eventually working with others on the healing will be necessary. Spirit wants to co-create miracles with you, so pay attention to who shows up in your life at this time. And let Spirit help you manifest the resources and people into your life. And okay, I got a quote just popped up on my phone here, and I feel it's relevant, so I'm going to read it to you. It says, when you open your eyes first thing in the morning, take a deep breath and say, today I am going to be better. Trust me, it will do wonders for you. So I love when Spirit comes through with surprise messages like that. So this feels very pertinent to your reading. But with this, what I'm feeling is that if you've been experiencing illness, Spirit is suggesting that this small act in the morning can help a lot because it will infuse healing into your day even before you get out of bed. It's setting an intention of healing for yourself, and Spirit is saying it will be powerful. But I also feel that it refers to being the best version of yourself that you can be if you've had trouble forgiving yourself for something. So feel free to give that a shot if you feel called to. I'm also being drawn to the healer on this card, Asclepios. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he's a very powerful healer. Calling upon him for help with what you need this time could be beneficial. He has this very vast knowledge about herbs and plants that are medicinal, and he can help lead you to the right ones for whatever it is that you are experiencing for even more transformation with healing. Your next card it's in reverse, but right side up it says reparenting yourself. So with this card coming out in reverse, I feel inner child healing is a concept you're just learning about, or Spirit is suggesting to learn more about it. When we have childhood trauma, one of the best things we can do for ourselves is inner child healing. And this can be as simple as speaking to your inner child with loving words, or even doing a specific guided meditation to connect to your inner child. But doing whatever it takes to let them know that you are there for them and love them so much and that you aren't going anywhere. In the film, there's a scene where Ben Wade opens up to Dan about his past. He tells him this story about his mother, that she took him to a train station, gave him a Bible to read, and said she would be back with their tickets. So he read the entire Bible within 3 days. but his mother never returned. So this put a damper on his own personal faith, and it created a lot of anger within himself from that experience. So I do feel the energy of an abandonment wound, and reparenting yourself is a crucial part of healing this. You have to refuse to abandon yourself despite having been abandoned by others. I too have an abandonment wound, so I understand the pain it causes. But I also know doing inner child healing is very helpful. And as you do this work, your inner child starts to feel safe with you, and they actually start to show you some pretty cool things. It could even be things you forgot about that you loved doing when you were a child. Or they could even show you what your passion and purpose is as well. Your last card here is the Moon. So this card indicates that not all is as it seems. There's a certain sense of illusion here. Some of you are feeling disconnected from your own intuition. And I do hear that doing some decluttering in your living space would help bring messages through more clearly and bring more clarity. And it's also a great way of bringing in new energy as you're getting rid of the old. Spirit also keeps showing me Charlie Prince, played by Ben Foster in the film. He's a phenomenal actor, been in many films. He's phenomenal in this, just like he is every other film that he's in. Very powerful actor. But in this one, he is Ben Wade's right-hand man. And he's pretty ruthless. Even more so than Ben Wade. And even though Ben Wade is a villain, he still likes doing everything with honor. And he grows this unique bond with Dan Evans and begins to see that he is an honorable man. And what's so cool about this movie is how it shows how Ben and Dan reflect both their shadow and light to each other in the film. They both are more alike than they know, and they bring out each other's strengths without really realizing that that's what they're doing. But Dan is able to get Ben to the 3:10 train to Yuma. But right as he does, Charlie Prince shows up and shoots and kills Dan. Ben sees at this moment that Charlie is not an honorable human being, and he ends up killing him. And this was his right-hand man. And then he gets on the train to be taken to Yuma for his sentencing. So Spirit is showing me someone around some of you who is not honorable, much like Charlie Prince. This is someone who would throw others under the bus if it meant they would come out ahead. But I also feel an energy that this person actually thinks they are honorable. Because in the film, Charlie was loyal to Ben Wade, and he thought he was doing the right thing when he killed Dan because that meant Ben was free. So I'm also seeing that someone is appearing to be loyal, but their loyalties actually lie elsewhere. And this is the illusion the moon brings. But the great thing about the moon is that it also holds a powerful light and has the ability to illuminate anything hiding in the darkness. So if you haven't seen someone's true colors yet, this truth is coming very soon. I'm also drawn to the title of the film, 3:10 to Yuma. Dan and his crew do their best to make sure that Ben is on this specific train at this specific time. So if you've been waiting for something, Spirit is saying what is meant for you will come at the time it's meant to, and not one moment later. You have divine appointments at specific times, and these dates and times will not be missed. So you can relax knowing this, okay? Also, some of these truths coming in may be shocking and painful. This is the way of life sometimes, as we all experience being hurt at one time or another. But how you handle these truths is what matters the most, and also how you honor yourself and your feelings. And if there is someone you have felt like you haven't been able to trust, when they speak to you, take the information they tell you with a grain of salt, as what they are telling you could be misleading. They will not be able to hide from the truth much longer. On another note, I'm also feeling the energy of someone who likes to taunt people. In the film, there's a scene where the men stop and rest outside, and they all take turns staying awake so they can keep an eye on Ben so he can't escape. One man named Tucker is the chosen one to stay awake, and he starts taunting Ben by singing a song about him going to be hanged soon. And this really pisses Ben off. So, if you have been taunted by someone, Spirit is saying this is just another obstacle that you will overcome. I'm hearing to look at how far you've come on your journey. You didn't come this far only to get this far. Don't allow the taunters or the haters to distract you. I'm also seeing that you might encounter some taunters who you thought were your friends. And this is Spirit revealing people's true nature to you. On an even different note here, I also feel you're entering a very lucky time because of all the inner work you've done and everything you're letting go of that is no longer in alignment with your higher vision. You may feel like you're in darkness right now, but the light of the moon is helping you through it all. Illusions are being revealed. Beautiful, group number 3. That is all that I am seeing. Those are your messages. Thank you again for being here. Also, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps out in a big way. So again, thank you. I love you all so much, and I will see you on the next video.